What we will do this evening is we will try to find out a little bit from you what you have already learned. Is that all right? Huh? Why not? Not really. And yes. Now you have already learned about dana, right? So that's easy, isn't it? So you should be able to talk a little bit about dana. Let us see. The subject for this evening's discussion will be on dana. You think it is simple, but there are quite a few things that we can learn from this. Now, who wants to try to explain what dana is about? Come. You can have the opportunity to come up to talk. Anybody? You see, you either talk now or you will have to talk later. The general meaning of this term dana is giving. So you can use the word generosity. And the word charity is, we can use this word also, but nowadays when people do charity, they have some other motives in the mind, no? So this word has become not a very good word, charity. So giving, liberality, hospitality is also dana, no? Showing your hospitality to friends, relatives, strangers. These are dana. Then there is a more specific meaning to the word dana, and which is very popularly used. What is it? Which you can demonstrate every day. What is that? What is that meaning? Alms food. You better learn these meanings, okay? Because later on we will test you and there's no excuse. So the general meaning is giving. Then used in the special instance of the alms food offered to the monks. That is also dana. Not only alms food, but all the other requisites also can be called dana. But usually, for the monks, every time they talk with one another, they say, "Come and let's have our dana." That means, no, dana means eating, food. Okay, right. Then, what are the different kinds of dana? Yes. Amisa dana, abhaya dana, dhamma dana. What are these in English? First one is material. Giving of material things. What are material things? Things like food, clothing, shelter, medicine, and what else? What have you? All the material things. That is amisa dana. Then the second kind of giving. Yes, giving of confidence or removing fear from the minds of others. That's what you call abhaya dana. Abhaya, no fear. giving, no fear. But very often people give fear to others. No? You make others become very fearful. So when people are fearful, when people have worries, when they have fear of losing their lives, then you give some, you console them by your kind speech, by your kind actions. You can console them and remove that fear from their minds. That is another form of giving, another form of dana. Then the third kind of dana, the third kind of giving is Dhamma dana. Dhamma dana. What is Dhamma dana? Giving of the truth, giving of truth, giving of Dhamma. What do you mean by giving of truth? What is this truth that we talk about? Meditate. Reality. What is this reality? No. What is truth? Yes? Natural law. Yes? Four Noble Truths. What are these Four Noble Truths for? Yes? Yes? Two? Truth of suffering. So you give people truth of suffering, is it? We make them suffer. Yes? It is the end of suffering. So whenever we speak about truth, because there are different kinds of Dhamma. There are different kinds of Dhamma. I mentioned to you last time. But the Buddha Dhamma, there is one, the important aspect of Dhamma is what we call the truth. When we talk of Dhamma as truth, we speak of the truth that is the knowledge. We refer to the knowledge which enables us to put an end to sufferings, to put an end to conflicts, to put an end to problems. That is what the truth is about. And the highest truth is that what we call Saddhammang. Saddhammang is the sublime Dhamma. The sublime Dhamma. Referring to the noble, the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, which leads us to the complete cessation of suffering. So, now, this truth, why is it? Now, there is a saying, some of you might have heard of this saying, Sabba Dhanang, Dhamma Dhanang, Jinati. Can you repeat? You copy. Sabba Dhanang. Although we put the mark there is a dot under the M. When you put the dot under the M, you pronounce this as NG. And this is the phonetic symbol. That means you pronounce as Sabba Dhanang. Not Dhanam, Dhanang. Right? So Sabba Dhanang, Dhammadanang jinati. Say, Sabbadanang Dhammadanang jinati. Right. The meaning? What is the meaning? Sabadana. Sabba means all. Dana means give. Gifts. Dhamma is truth, right? Dana. The gift of truth. The gift of truth excels all gifts. Why is this so? Why? How does it excel all gifts? Can you explain? Anyone? Try? No? When you give all the material things, you give food, you give clothing, you give shelter. They are all good actions, no? Generous action. But they are not the highest or the most unique of gift. Why not? Now you see, every day you have been having your dana, right? When was the last time you had your dana? This, how many hours ago? You lost count. Well, never mind, you'll have your next dana tomorrow. But it is an ever recurring, it's a recurring need, again and again. You will have to partake of that food. When you give people food, after a little while, it depends. Some people, they get hungry after 3-4 hours. Like you have learned to keep the food for how many hours? 16, 17 hours. So, but still there is the need, recurring need. Similarly, you give clothing to them. Now this is the Christmas season and there is the Chinese New Year coming, New Year season. You have to buy clothes for your parents, buy clothes for their children. And how long does it last them? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then sometimes hardly 1 year. You have to replace them again. Similarly, with medicine. The medicine that you give to others when they are sick, then they are temporarily, they get the relief, and then the next moment they get some other sickness. You need another kind of medicine. So, shelter. You give shelter to others. And after some time, the roof start leaking. They need some more. So all these material things that we give to others, there is in fact no end to these requirements. We need again and again. No? And but the gift of truth, what is this truth? When we teach others, when we share this knowledge to others as to how to overcome suffering once and for all. How to overcome suffering? To overcome craving, the roots of all craving, greed, hatred, delusion. When you can overcome teach them to overcome these, then there is no more. Where there is no more craving, there is no more suffering. There's no more attachment, there's no more suffering. And there is no more needs, recurring needs. This is how they can put an end to their suffering once and for all. That is why we consider the gift of truth as being the most unique of gifts. However, until such time that you are able to give truth, you also need to give the other things, no? Right. So these are the three kinds of gifts or givings. One is material giving. Second is the giving through service, by words, by actions. That is to give confidence to others in saving others' lives, to remove fear from the minds of others. That is another form of giving. And then the giving of Dhamma, the giving of truth. Now, why? Next one we come to, why do we give? Why should we practice dana? Why do we practice dana? What for? Very good. The purpose of practicing dana, giving, is to reduce our craving, our attachment to things. This is very important to bear in mind, because there are people who are very generous. They do all kinds of charity. But when they do that charity, is it to reduce their own greed? To reduce their own attachments? Very often they have some ulterior motives. I give you this, but later you give me that. Alright? Rich countries help poor countries, do charity to poor countries. But the rich countries say, I give you now, later you give me these materials. So this kind of giving is not real giving, no? It's business, no? One kind of business. And real giving is, the real dana is, when you perform that action to cut off, to reduce your attachment, your clinging to things. And have you experienced, what have you given to each other today? What have you shared with one another today? And every day you should think, what can I give to others? And when you give to others, do you give the things that you like most? Or do you always give the things that you don't like? Or do you give the things, now you receive some food, and you receive some very special food that you like? Are you prepared to part and share that food to your neighbor? Or after seeing that people have offered you so much food and you know that I cannot finish this, I give you that. Wonderful kind of giving. There is also kind of giving. That's also a good action. But it does not really cut off the craving, the attachment force. It's when you give with a good mind and you give something that you like, something that you cherish. And if you can part away with that, then that is real giving. Then it really, this is why to a rich person who has plenty of money, $10 is nothing to them. But to a poor person, he gives the $10, but really, he needs. It's a very big thing, but he's able to cut off that. That is real. So, realize that the purpose of giving, why we practice this, in order to cut off gross attachments. And so that is the main purpose, to reduce our attachments and cravings. That's the purpose of giving, sole purpose of giving. Then what are the benefits? Because it also comes under why, because some people ask this question. They always, when they give something, they want something in return. No? So they ask, why should we give? Anyway, there are certain advantages of giving. What are the advantages of giving? Gain merit. No. Because that action of giving, so you must understand the meaning of merits. The action of giving itself is a merit. If it is performed with a good mind, if it is performed with pure mind, because when you perform that action of giving, others receive, right? When others receive, you see they are happy, right? They are happy. So that action, when you give with happiness. You are happy to give. You have the joy, you give. That action which when performed, it gives joy, happiness in your mind. That happiness is merit. Now, that happiness is that action which is performed and gives happiness. That is merit. Because this merit in Pali, what is the word merit in Pali? Punya. This diacritical mark, the worm on top of the N, pronounced as nya. Punya. In Sinhalese, the Sri Lankans prefer merit as ping. Ping. Demerits are pao. Ping and pao. There is a saying that, you cannot give a person ping or pao. But whenever the monks come here, many people give them pao. Pao means papa. Pao means bad demerits. All the bad actions, You cannot give a person merit or demerit. You see? And but here, when they come here, they get a lot of paos. Ba pao and Siu pao and So when they eat that, they get all the demerits, no? And that's why when you bring pao, they will laugh sometimes. So, the word for, in Sinhalese they call, in Sri Lanka they call ping. In Thailand they call what? Boon. Boon. Thambun. Boon. Boon is from here, from the P. The P they pronounce as B. P-U-N. Punya, they say bun. Bun. Okay, bun. Thambun. Bun. So, this punya is defined as that action, the action which cleanses the mind. Action which cleanses the mind. In other words, the action which helps to purify the mind. That is punya. That is punya. And many people have, and they have heard about this accumulation of merits. We use these terms conventionally to accumulate merits. And also we use this term giving, transference of merits and so on. What really it means here is when you perform a good action, what happens is by doing that action, you are able to reduce greed in the mind, cravings in the mind, hatred and delusion in the mind. So in doing so, the mind becomes free. The mind becomes less greed, less hatred. So the mind is cleansed. So that is how happiness, one gets happiness in the mind. So when a person performs merits, the word punya is also in the sutta, in the teachings, the word punya is also used sometimes synonymously as happiness, no? So it is equivalent. Merit is happiness. So it is by doing meritorious actions that you get happiness. When you are happy, then you are able to concentrate your mind. When you're happy, your mind is conducive to concentration. You can concentrate. Then you can radiate your loving kindness. You can transfer. You can share. You can think of others. You can contemplate much better. That is why before one performs this transference of merits, before one performs, one first of all do some meritorious action. Similarly, when you come to the temple, when you come and you do the offerings, you see how the Buddhists pray. And understanding Buddhists will not just go to the shrine and then ask the Buddha, "Oh Buddha, please give me something today." What thing? People come to the Buddha to ask for all sorts of things. Those who do not have children ask for children. Those who do not have wife ask for wife. Those who don't have husband ask for husband. Those who do not have money ask for money. Ask for empat digit or empat ekor. And they ask. That kind of prayer is not really prayer. And usually when they ask, they also have something, they also have some bargain. They bargain with the Buddha, you please give me, and then, I know I will donate something to the temple. You hear a lot of stories like this, where people go to the temple, they'll do some donation, and sometimes, even before they do the donation, they will say, when I strike lottery, I'll donate. Huh? So you give me this number first. That is not real prayer. That is not a religious practice. That is a business practice. That is business, not religion. So, what we do here is this. First, we perform some meritorious action. What are these meritorious actions? When you come, you pay your respect, reverence. Thinking of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, you pay your homage. Firstly, the moment you calm your minds down and think of the Buddha as the great teacher, as one who has paven, who through his practice, through all the sacrifices, through his great wisdom and compassion, he has paven the way, he had shown the path for mankind to cross the ocean of sufferings. So we pay our homage, we have respect, gratitude towards that teacher. The moment we have that thought in that mind, in our mind, that reverential thoughts, that itself is a meritorious action. Reverence is a good action. Respect is a good action. Good action means a good state of mind. It's a good mental factor. We call it cetasika. Good cetasika, good mental factor. So that is why the moment there is good mental factor, the mind becomes calm. The mind becomes composed. Then after that, we perform some offerings. You share in giving, offering of flowers, offering of incense. This is amisa puja, material things. You offer that, right? And you can also offer your practices, pratipatti puja, thinking what you have practiced. Now, having performed this offering, doing some dana, material things, now those are good actions. On the basis of these good actions, you make your mind, you cleanse your mind, the mind becomes happy, becomes lighter. And then you make your aspirations. Then after you have performed all these things, then you make a firm aspiration. Then you make your wish. I think Reverend Dhammaratana has handed you those small sheet of paper, isn't it? That is a kind of the act of truth, or how to make proper aspirations. By having performed some meritorious actions, then you say, by these meritorious actions, by this merit, may I what? May I be able to overcome this problem that I am confronted with. May I be able to overcome these weaknesses that I have. May I be able to be freed from this suffering. Or may so and so be well and happy, like that. Then you are directing your mental energy, your karma, the wholesome karma that you have generated. You are directing it in that direction. That is the art of prayer, the art of, by performing some wholesome karma, some wholesome action, and then directing it, then you get what you want. Because that wholesome karma will definitely ripen. If it is if you make it with a strong state of mind, calm and strong mind, then you will see it ripening. Because action gives rise to reaction. Wholesome karma gives rise to wholesome effect. So if you do not have that kind of aspiration, if you do not make the proper aspiration, the good action may come to you, but it may come at some time that, it may not come at the time that you really need it. When you are really in need at certain time, then you direct your attention there and then. You make that firm resolution. Now, to make all these resolutions, you need to make it in a strong state of mind. That is why sometimes there are certain ceremonies, certain rites, to give rise to certain kind of religious atmosphere, to give rise to some kind of inspiration. So when you are inspired, your mind is strong. With that strong mind, you make that firm determination or aspiration. That is actually how we understand prayer and how the prayers will work on you. So, dana, giving, is one form of meritorious action, in the sense that it helps to cleanse the mind from the defilement of craving and attachment. All right? That is dana. And so you know the purpose of giving, and you know why, how to give now, how to give. How should you give? How to perform dana? According to the Noble Eightfold Paths. You know what the Noble Eightfold Paths are? What are the Noble Eightfold Paths? Right understanding, right thoughts, right speech, right bodily action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right? These are the Noble Eightfold Paths. When you perform, how to practice this Noble Eightfold Path? You practice this, you put this Noble Eightfold Path in your day-to-day practice. Now when you are giving something, are all the path factors there? Are all the 8 path factors there? These Noble Eightfold Paths should be practiced together. And in fact, they are interrelated. Now when you perform a good action such as giving, such as dana, there must be already some right thoughts in the mind. In other words, right thoughts, thoughts free from craving. At least an element of right thought must be there in the mind. Because if there is greed and attachment in the mind, one cannot give. So there is right thought. Then there is also, you must also make an effort to give. And you have to have some attention or mindfulness and concentration. These 4 factors, these 4 path factors are interlinked when you perform a meritorious action, a good action. Right thought, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. But the other path factors may not be there. When you perform giving, you may not use the right speech. Sometimes you lie. You give something and then you say, that's all what I have. Or that's the best that I can give you. But what you have given was the worst thing. The best you have kept somewhere else. Or you give something and you say, get away, don't come again. Harsh words. You are using harsh words. There's no right speech there. And right action. Right action. You give something, but you have killed, you have stolen others' things to give. Some people steal others' things and give. And dana, they say. Then that action is giving. That action is true. That this action is giving, but it is not pure because there is no right action there. So in order to practice the Noble Eightfold Path in our day-to-day life, we should become aware that this action incorporates these path factors. Hence, that is why underlying this, the right mindfulness must be there, that we use the right speech, the right action, and also livelihood, right livelihood. People use all forms, all kinds of, they earn their living by hook or by crook. And then they give, that has charity, they practice charity. That is, the giving is good, that action is good, no doubt about it, but not pure. That is why the path factors are not there. So it does not lead, as long as the path factors are not there, that means that action cannot really lead one to the cessation of suffering. These path factors, the Noble Eightfold Path, are those factors which helps one, which they are path factors in the sense that they paves the way for us to overcome suffering. So be aware of these path factors and also right understanding. To give with right understanding. Because with wrong understanding, we give with these three things are dangerous. When you give and your mind are tainted with three things, three defilements. Tanha, Ditti, Mana. Tanha, craving. You give, but you have some ulterior motives. You want back more in return. Ditti. Ditti means view. Wrong view. And particularly with regards to the view of the self. Thinking that I am giving you this. I give you. Here, look here. I am giving you these things. The I, my. These are my things that I am giving you. Now, this is with Ditti, view. And Mana, pride. You give, but you have pride. This pride arises when you give and you compare. You compare your gifts. You know, when people give dana, one day their relatives come to the temple and bring dana for the monks. And then this person, the brother, is very well off, much well off than the other one. So he thinks, what? He is only giving this. I will come, I will show them what I can do. I can do much better. I will give twice this amount. So he performs dana to show, he compares his giving in comparison with the others. And so he is very proud that he is able to give so much. That is mana. So giving with this kind of defilements in the mind, these defilements in the mind disturbs the purity of giving. So what happens is, as a result of the giving, giving is good action. Dana is good action. The benefit is, it will give rise. What you give, as a result of you receive. This is actually the natural law. What you give, you receive. What you have received, you are able to give, What you have given is what you have received. Right? So, this is the natural law. So the main benefit, the real benefit of giving is that those who have given, they are born rich. They are born in wealthy families. They receive. They have plenty because of what they have given in the past. And depending on what they have given, they receive also. But why is it that those who are born rich, they have plenty, but they have no happiness? Many people have a lot of things, but they cannot enjoy the things. Because although they have given in the past, but they have not given with happiness. The mind is not pure. So, when one performs an action without a purity, so what happens is, the effect is also that he receives, but he is not happy. There are many people who give without happiness. Many people, you ask donation from them, they will give you because, they give you something, but after, in their minds, never mind, just take, next time don't come again. But they have given. They have given. The fact is they have given. That's a good action. You cannot say that he has not performed a good action. He has performed a good action. But that action is not pure. And sometimes when people give, after that they regret. I have to spend so much. I have to spend so much. After hearing certain stories about, they regret having given. So the way to maintain the purity of giving is, there are three, in terms of time factors, there is at the time of, before giving, before the action, during the action, and after the action, one should maintain the purity of mind. Before you give, you think, you want to invite so and so to the house. You are happy. But in the process of invitation already, some people are thinking, yeah, so much work already, I have to take leave and I have to do this. You must be careful. How? Even you should not spoil that. So you should maintain the purity and think with pure mind, give. Then while you are giving, that is why the act of serving others, they come and they offer, they serve. They are present on that occasion. Why? Because that while they perform that action of giving, they have the opportunity to perform it with their own hands, and while performing, they can maintain the purity of mind. They can have happiness while they are performing that. After they have performed that action, they still maintain that happiness. Thinking that they have given, they are happy. Thinking that they have given, they have shared what they have with others. Oh, happiness arises in their mind. They don't regret what they have given. So, that is how an action, the giving, should be performed with pure mind, pure intention. And as a result of that, you will receive. And when you receive, you will be happy. You can use it with happiness. Then there is also, now the next thing to understand about dana is yes, what, why, how, and what else? When to give. Here, in this context, you can give any time, every time. And not only confined, actually in a broad sense of it, giving material things, you can also give by giving a smile, a cheer to others. That's also one form of giving, if you have nothing to give. Giving peace, calmness, radiating metta to others, give them peace. The action in giving is good, right? But the motives behind it, blackmailing, force another to give. You see? That means he has been forced to give. He does not give out of his own free mind. He has been forced to give. So we should learn how to give without being forced, without being. That is communism different, Forced giving, forced sharing, that's true. Communism has this forced giving. The Sangha, the community, is also one kind of communism, but it is not forced giving. You see? They are taught the virtues. They are taught how to give, and so they share. Very beautiful how, when we read the suttas, the discourses, how we find the monks, when they live together in harmony, they share the food that they have gathered. Even now, in monasteries, in big monasteries where there are many hundreds of monks living together, they cannot afford to cook. So the young monks will go out in the morning to collect food, and then bring back, and then they share the food with the elders, with the older monks, with the sick monks. They share this one. And here in this you can see, some of the younger monks, they keep all the good ones, all the food that they receive, good one they keep. Not so good one they go and give. But there are those well-practicing monks, good practicing young monks. They will take all the good ones and give to the elders. So the elders, when they receive this, and They are very touched. So sometimes they don't eat everything. They leave something for the younger ones also. They take out and they give the young ones. And a very beautiful practice when you see it. And in fact, that practice of pindapata, going around for alms round, one main purpose that the Buddha introduced this way of life, for the monks to go around to collect their alms, is to teach people to give, to teach people to part something. Do you know that even in certain countries, like in Sri Lanka, although in the cities and in some places you don't find monks going around anymore. Although you find, still in the villages, you can find the monks going around for food. But in certain places where monks do not go around, still, amongst these people, they will cook first portion, the rice portion, they will take out and reserve that. No? And the first portion they take out, they reserve that for the monks. No? And to give others. It's giving. See? And so when the monks go out, so every day they give opportunity for the others to give, to perform this act of giving, sharing what they have with others. Joy. Great joys they have. So they start the day with joy in the early in the morning. So that is so much about dana. Anything else that now you have any questions that you would like to raise from this? What is there is a Malay word of dana, is it right? Oh, I see. He says that in Malay there is a word dana, also means giving, but with interest, it seems. And so he's asking whether that word has been used, taken, and with corrupted ideas. Well, it is possible because there are many words that have been borrowed, you see. And many Malay words, you can see they are derived from Pali Sanskrit roots. And but the meaning may be different, slightly different. Yes, teaching a person to be independent, right? Yes, that is a good way. That's why this is the example that there's a Chinese saying that you should instead of just giving to the needy, you should if you can teach him to fish. But that's not a Buddhist saying. It's a Chinese saying, somewhere that instead of just giving him the food, you should teach him the art of how they can gather, how they can acquire, how they can work to receive food. That is very good. Yes, so this is how you can improve on your skills in helping others. Sometimes some people only know how to give, but those people who are more concerned for the well-being of the others, then they have this skill, the ability of knowing how to make them work to receive things, so that in the process of giving, it will make them, they will acquire, they will know, they will develop the skills, so that they don't have to depend totally on others all the time. Yes. In other words, that kind of giving is more skillful. It is conditioned. It is conditioned with, there is wisdom in that giving. One should give also with wisdom, should practice to give wisely. Oh, there is another subject on giving this the field of merits. In other words, yes, there are different fields of merits. You see, now giving is a good action; it's a meritorious action, but there are to different people, different things. You give to different people, right? In fact, there are mentioned about 14 classes of beings that you can give. Starting from animals, you give to animals, you feed animals. They are also giving, meritorious action. Then you give to, I cannot remember all these classes, but giving to human beings. Also, there are different kinds of human beings. There are those, the needy ones. They're giving to your own kids and kin, your own relatives, giving to your friends, giving to strangers, and giving to some holy religious people. And there is this, when you talk about dana, the Sangika dana, giving to the monks. That giving we consider as great meritorious action. Why is it great? Why is it very great meritorious, great merits to give to the Sangha, the community? Because that community, Sangha, when you give it to the Sangha, oh yes, when you talk about dana, the food that you, alms food that you offer to the monks, you can further divide it into two. You can divide it into Puggalika dana and Sangika dana. That means you can give the alms food to individual monks, Puggalika, individual monks, or you can offer the alms food in the presence of a group of monks, 4 or more monks, and give them as a Sangha. That means you are not giving, you should not think that you are giving that to individual monks. You should think, when you offer to a group of monks, you should think that you are giving to the whole Sangha. That means you should have in your mind that you are giving to the Sangha, the members, all those from the time of the Buddha right to now, and those yet to come. So you're giving, you're supporting this. When you think, you have that opportunity to think in this manner, then that merit becomes very strong, because the gifts you are giving to think of the great virtues of the Sangha, great virtues of the noble ones, Aryan Sangha, those who have freed their minds from greed, hatred, delusion. They are pure beings. So giving to such beings, they are high field of merits, incomparable field of merits, we call them. That is because if you give to somebody who are not pure, the robbers, for example, then after eating, he goes about in the neighborhood to rob and steal. So you have performed a good action, but the person to whom you have performed is not all that worthy of it. So in other words, that result that you give, that action is not all that skillful, not highest, not great merit. It is a merit, although. That is why you have different fields of merits. Just as you have different kinds of soil, different kinds of field. When you sow the seed, when you sow some seeds, there are different kinds of soil. Some soil are more fertile than others. If you sow some seed in some sandy soil, then it does not germinate so easily. On the other hand, if you sow that seed on fertile soil, then you see it germinates very fast. And so also our actions. When we perform an action, there are different field of merits, different persons, different kinds of individuals, different groups of people that we perform to. Then naturally when you perform some action to some good people, and that person performs more good actions, then you get greater joy, greater happiness. That's why great meritorious actions, you see. So the field of merits come into this picture of dana. Yes. Yes, any questions? The question is, you know that by giving, you know that that person is not going to put it to good use, right? And he is asking whether it is wrong to give. Whether you should not give. Up to you.
You have heard a lot about dana. So Mahinda explained in various ways how to give dana. I hope we will be able to see before you go home how you practice this dana. There are few more items in addition to Mahinda's explanation. Two aspects. What should be the mental attitude when we perform this act of dana? That is very important. Second thing is the nature of our aspiration after performing this dana. These two things are very important. The word, as mentioned by Mahinda, the charity is not dana at all from the Buddhist point of view. The main purpose of dana is to reduce our own craving and selfishness. When you study the previous birth stories of the Buddha, how he practiced this life after life, sacrificing everything. He practiced this dana in three ways. Very difficult for others to do that. First thing is very easy. Anyone can practice. Offer or sacrifice something for the benefit of others. Any kind of material things. Usually we take this as dana. But we have to go further. Donating something from our own body. The Buddha has done this in his previous birth. Either blood or eyes or kidneys or hair or anything for the benefit of others. Many people are reluctant to do this because they have a lot of superstitious ideas and selfishness. even after their death, the dead bodies can be burned or buried, but they say cannot take out anything. If they give away something, they won't get back in the next life. But they never consider this when they go to dentists. When dentists say, I have to extract your teeth, they never consider, no, you cannot extract. Otherwise, if you do that, I won't get back in the next life. Why they never consider at that time? Also, after extracting, he throw away. But here, they want to make use of them for the benefit of others. Again, when your legs or your arms are completely infected, the doctors say, if you want to save your life, there's no other choice. You have to amputate your leg. At that time, you say, you cannot. If you amputate my leg, I won't get back in the next life. You allow. And he burns or buries this leg. Then why do you want to maintain such silly ideas in your mind? By donating something for the benefit of others that you won't get back in the next life. See how stupid we are. So the Buddha has done this. There are many stories how he has donated blood and ice. We cannot understand what sort of technique that they have used for this transplantation. Ice. Today, medical science is so advanced, they know how to do that. But they practiced this method few thousand years ago. There are some stories. Then the last one is the most difficult thing. Highest dana. Sacrifice the whole life for the welfare of others, for the sake of principle. It does not mean that you must die purposely. It doesn't serve the purpose. The idea is, even at the risk of your life, you come forward either to save another life or to support or to help or relieve others' suffering. Take for instance, there are some contagious, very serious sicknesses. And you think you cannot go near to serve, to minister this person who is suffering from certain sicknesses, contagious. But if you think, never mind, I don't care. I want to do some service to others. About 24 years ago, we had only 2 rooms here in our temple. A monk who has come from India had something like a smallpox, not chicken pox, more serious, more dangerous, very highly contagious. He was sleeping in my room. We had 2 beds. We went to a doctor, Dr. Malal, still there. He told me, this looked like a smallpox, not chicken pox. And you will be the next person who gets this. I told him I am also sleeping in the same room. Oh, it's very dangerous. But I said, never mind. I'll do my duty. I stayed in the same room. I assisted him. He was cured, but I didn't get it. My confidence, my mental energy is more stronger than the elements in my body. This is the way how we develop our mind. That is a sacrifice. Even at the risk of our life. Of course, not foolishly. We must come forward if there is anything to render any service, either to save others' life or to relieve their suffering. And the Buddha has done this on many occasions before his enlightenment. 3 ways how to practice dana. A person who wants to become an enlightened Buddha, Supreme Samma Sambuddha, must practice dana in 3 ways. Otherwise, he never gains the enlightenment. Pacceka Buddhas practice only 2 ways, first and the second. Arahantas, those who want to become an Arahanta, the first item is enough. So you have to decide whether you want to become Arahanta, so Pacceka Buddhas, or Supreme Enlightened Buddhas. Let it be anything. If you can practice in 3 ways, you develop more and more qualities and virtues and the merits, and you gain your knowledge and wisdom, enlightenment. 3 ways. So you have learned 3 things here. Another 3 things. According to Abhidhamma, you know Abhidhamma, isn't it? What is Abhidhamma? Dhamma you have learned today. I didn't talk anything about Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma means, in simple language, analytical interpretations of the mind and elements. Very easy to remember. Abhidhamma, analytical interpretation, because many people, even psychologists, modern psychologists also, still not learned what this mind is, mental activity. In Abhidhamma, you can see so many dark corners that others cannot see. But through Abhidhamma, we can understand the nature of our minds. In Abhidhamma, it is mentioned, when we practice dana, there must be 3 qualities in our mind. Somanassa sahagata, jnana sampayutta, asankharika. These are the 3 qualities. First thing, somanassa sahagata. There must be happiness in our mind. If there is no happiness, if we perform this act of dana without any kind of happiness in our mind, we won't get the full result of the merits. That is the first thing. That means, at that time we have to reduce our hatred, anger, cruelty, jealousy, evil forces we have to withdraw from our mind at that time to maintain happiness. Then the second one is jnana sampayutta. Correct understanding of this act of dana, not only for the namesake, or not just to please others, or for the names or fames or publicity, We must understand why we should practice this. For what purpose? In two ways. First, we can release others' sufferings. Those who are poor, those who are sick, those who have fear. So we can release them by practicing this. That understanding must be there. But not expecting a big reward from God. You pollute the purity of this in your mind. Then the other thing. You must know the effect or the result that you gain. Later you had to divert this correctly without harboring selfishness. How this act of dana creates the result, in which way, that understanding must be there. Third one is asankharik. That means the idea must be your own idea. You created, you implanted this idea in your mind that you want to practice. If not, you get this idea from another person. Another person come and tell you, why not you give? Why not you join with us? It is not your own idea. So you get the full result if the idea is your own. Because there are many mental factors that you have to develop to create this. Now see, three things. The mind must be happy and pure. And you must know the meaning, the significance of how this act of dana create effect. Because later you have to divert this. Last one is, you have to cultivate your mind to create such ideas in your mind. Don't wait others to come and tell you. Now, another three. And this advice was given by the Buddha. By knowing that you really gain some sort of merit. That is why it is necessary for you to learn earlier. Because the Buddha says, Dānaṁ khalu sabhavena sagga manusa bhogata. Parināma vaseneva otu mokkhopanissaya. This is very simple. Naturally, this act of dana creates some good result for people to experience heavenly bliss and very prosperous, happy life as human beings. It is natural and not necessary for you to aspire, to pray, to gain that. It is natural. So whether you are Buddhist or Christians or without any religion, if you practice dana, naturally you experience this good result. Now see the way how Buddha has explained. So this is not only for a Buddhist. Anybody who practices this experience this good result. But our main purpose or the aim of practicing dana is not that. We should not limit that aspiration. Then the Buddha says, there are three ways how people develop their aspiration by performing this dana. I think nearly 99% of all those who practice dana develop this aspiration. By the power of this merit, by the virtues of this merit, may we get the chance to be born in heaven, to enjoy our life. 99%. If not, be born as human beings in a rich family, multi-millionaires family, to enjoy our life, get more and more in our next birth. And then the Buddha says, yes, you gain this, but you lower the good result of your dana, merits. You reduce, because selfishness is there. That selfishness polluted the purity of the merits. Because all those good results that you experience in heaven and this world as human beings means to an end. After spending, you become bankrupt. You spend the merits that you accumulated as human beings and devas, later you become bankrupt, because you do not know that. Then the second stage, the Buddha says, you can aspire to gain more power, more knowledge, more wisdom, and more material things, but not for my own sake, not for my own enjoyment's sake. I can use this power, this knowledge, this wisdom, the thing, to contribute, to impart my knowledge to others, use my energy to help others, to support others. I can distribute, I can contribute everything for the welfare of others, not for me to enjoy my life. That aspiration is higher than the first one. Remember this. Again the Buddha says, that is not the last. You have to develop further. So by the virtues of this merit, may I get the opportunities to gain enlightenment, pure wisdom, not worldly wisdom, so that I can enlighten others. That is what the Buddha did. He aspired only that may I gain the enlightenment to enlighten others. So there is no selfishness. See the three ways. So we should not pollute the purity of our merit. Certain Buddhists also condemn, especially Zen Buddhism. It is not different type of Buddhism, but Zen Buddhist. They condemn our interpretations of merit. They say the pure Buddhism, they say, never encourages us to be crazy, to gain merit, but to purify our mind, that's all. You have to work only for that. Don't develop this concept in your mind that you want to gain merit, just to purify the mind. But there is one thing that they have not, I cannot say they have not realized, but they have not considered. What is that? Purifications of mind is not an easy task. You must understand that. To reduce one kind of human weakness that we maintain in our mind, one lifetime is not enough to eradicate this. We use our full effort, still they are very strong defilement. Let us take our jealousy. Can we wipe out our jealousy by considering, knowing in various ways? For nothing we develop jealousy in our mind. Can we wipe out our anger? Can we reduce our selfishness? These few items are more than enough for us to understand the nature of human mind. They talk about sudden enlightenment after practicing little bit of meditation. I really cannot understand what type of enlightenment is that. They use the word enlightenment. But we can understand the difficulties, how we struggle after learning whole Tripitaka also. But still we cannot reduce our jealousy, selfishness, anger. The merits are important. Because we know we had to continue this life for some time. We cannot stop at once. So the merits pave the way for us to carry on this noble way of life, life after life, very congenial, favorable situation, environment, atmosphere, way of life. Those merits support us. Then when we go on developing and developing and developing, one day we will be able to attain the final goal. That is why merits are important. They never considered this at once. So, very big dosage today, I think, afternoon. So many things. This is Buddhism. Buddhism is not just to believe something. No belief at all. To learn, to consider, to think, to understand, to realize. Belief is very easy.
That is why when we, before we eat, and you might have heard of how when the members of the devotees will sit down and then you see the monks recite those words, Ichitang, Pachitang, Trihang, Kipame, Vasamidchatu, and so on. What we recite is this. We say that whatever your aspirations may be, may you be able to fulfill your aspirations. So that is why it is important to know how to give with certain aspirations. Now, as Chief Reverend has pointed out, in fact, many places that people go, people say, give with pure mind. That means have no thoughts in the mind, just give alone. Now, here, what just now Chief Reverend mentioned, that stanza there, I can't quote the stanza, but what it means here is this, that by giving, naturally you will receive. Naturally, it's natural law, you will receive. But for the sake of your spiritual progress, for you to be able to develop your spiritual life, you should not merely cling to that natural result because you will get more and more, but you should make that aspiration. And what are those aspirations? The three kinds of aspiration. One, some people want to be born as the Devalokas. Others, they want to get more wealth so that they can help others more. And the third aspiration, the aspiration for the cessation of suffering, Nibbana, to help others. So these are some higher aspirations of life. So you make use of the good results and channel to make proper aspirations and higher aspirations. So may all your aspirations be fulfilled. Do you have aspirations? So next time when you perform, or next time when we eat, then our devotees, we should radiate our loving kindness, and then we also jointly, we think that whatever aspirations, whatever wish that they have, may they be able to fulfill their aspirations. And of course we hope that our devotees know, then when they do that action, they know, they have that knowledge, why they do it, why they should do it, and how they should do it, and then they make the proper aspirations. Then this is how you can gain. In other words, the action can be performed with efficiency, and the highest, the benefits can be properly derived when the actions are performed in the proper manner. So I think that's so much for tonight, and we wish you all good health and peace. And yes, we will be distributing you these books in a short while. Yes.